Welcome to the West Ham Voice. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. I guess we're all getting ready to find out how the games are going to go today in order to determine whether West Ham United stay out of the bottom three or not. But I'm not going to talk about Spurs or Forest or Leeds who play against Man United on Monday. I just want to reflect a little bit on the game that we played on Friday night. And to talk about one player in particular, which is Konstantinos Mavropanos. Now, before I do that, if you're new to this channel or if you've watched the West Ham Voice before but yet to become a subscriber, a QR code is appearing in the top corner there. To become a subscriber, all you've got to do, if you enjoy the content, is click on the QR code, takes you straight through to the subscription page. Subscribing is free of charge, and please do become a subscriber of the channel. So, what about Dinos? Well, this time last season, the very thought of Konstantinos Mavropanos coming on to play, even for a minute of football for West Ham United, would send shivers down the spines of many fans. In fact, it got so bad during that time. I remember Dinos preparing to come on as a sub, and some sections of the fan base would boo him. Now, it seems that this has become quite a habit for some fans to boo their own players lately. So imagine now, a year later, probably most of those fans who booed him are suggesting that he could indeed become Hammer of the Year. What a complete turnaround. Look, I get it. Fans are always going to have their favourites, and fans will always regard certain players as not being good enough to play for West Ham. How many times on social media do we hear a fan writing, "I never want to see him play in a West Ham shirt ever again," or "the player's a disgrace," or "the player is stealing a living," and so on and so on? You know, it's commonplace on social media now, isn't it? You vent your spleen, and you have a right to do so. But the more extreme you are, the louder you are, the sometimes more expletive you are, the more your comments and voice seems to be heard above and beyond any voice of reason. Negativity, I guess, sells. And when one person badmouths a player, then it seems to become an echo chamber, and many more sort of jump in onto that bandwagon. Look, I'm guilty of this as well. I've had my fair share of players that I thought weren't good enough for West Ham United. And I think many of you, if you go as far back as when I started doing videos, etc., you know that I wasn't a fan of King Arthur. When he played for us, I thought he was lazy. I thought he was not our best defender by any stretch of the imagination. And despite the song that we created for him, he always did give the ball away. But did I ever boo him? No. Hand on heart, I don't think I ever did. Did I ever, sort of go on a rampage and suggest that he should never play for West Ham again? No, I didn't think he was good enough, but didn't go that far. And the booing of a West Ham player is just simply something I just can't get behind, ever. Look, imagine if Dinos took it to heart and decided to put in a transfer request at the end of last season when he was receiving all the boos, when they were receiving that kind of treatment from the fan base. We were already up against it with our central defenders. Todibo was either always injured or out of form or had an error in him. Disasi was nowhere near the club until January of this year. Dinos was much maligned. He could do nothing right. And of course, the £40 million investment we made in Max Kilman just hasn't benefited us in any way at all. So he's clearly, Kilman, this is clearly a player who's kind of lost all confidence and he could do no right at this moment in time. So if Dinos had been sent on his merry way in the summer, what would we have been left with? We'd probably be in deeper trouble, relegation-wise, than we currently are, and we might not have found ourselves being able to find a way out of the predicament we're in. Look, let's mention Kilman just for a moment, because he's currently the big boo, the boo boy amongst some sections of the fan base. Do I think his confidence is shot? Yeah, I do. Do I think that booing him makes things even worse? Absolutely it does. I feel sorry for him. I felt sorry for him in the game when he played against Leeds United in the FA Cup. No one wanted him there. And I kind of imagine that a lot of fans were just waiting for the moment he'd make a mistake. And he did when he gave the penalty away. And Nuno suggested after the game, or stated after the game, that Kilman actually played well up to that point. Well, even after that, despite not having had much game time recently. He did rather well in possession. He won his duels, and Nuno talked about Kilman's resilience, his mentality, despite the setback of giving that penalty away. And he praised how the players rallied round Kilman to show a togetherness. So who knows? As a fan base, rather than booing him, if we rally round him, who's to say he can't turn things around and improve just like Dinos has done? But back to Dinos and the game. Not only was Dinos superb, but a number of players in addition to him were pretty exceptional. Another player who's been kind of much maligned by some sections of the fan base is Thomas Soucek, the unsung hero in midfield in that game against Wolves on Friday night. Proved just how vital he is and he has been to this West Ham team. Now, some time ago, I suggested that Soucek was never. We know, I'm not giving any, any secrets away. He's not the best technically, but he is a midfield disruptor. He won 8 out of the 12 duels he was involved in on Friday night. He won 80% of aerial duels. He made 2 recoveries just as Wolves were trying to move forward. He's not a glam player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a battler. And that's what we need right now to ensure that we get further away from the relegation zone. I admire Soucek for the hard work he puts in for West Ham. And he's a player that's, again, like I said, a player, again, not a favourite of some sections of the fan base, but he's proven over time just how crucial he is. And then we've got to compliment Tati Castellanos and Pablo. Again, many fans rightly questioning whether we brought the right players to the team during the January transfer window to lead the line. But there's no denying that both players have changed in the way we perform. Just like Soucek, Pablo is another battler. He won 3 out of 4 tackles he was involved in. He made 3 ball recoveries, and he created the excellent flick for Tati to score his first goal. Now, Tati's goals have been few and far between, but to get 2 within seconds of each other is going to be a massive confidence boost to the player himself. And I'm looking forward now that they've clicked, and I think they have clicked. They have changed the way we played, and then demonstrated how important they are against Wolves on Friday night. And I think the way they combined on Friday to create the first goal for Tati is going to bode really well for the final 6 games of this season. And I like Castellanos, like many forwards, he doesn't go missing in games. He may not be scoring many goals, but he gets involved. And when I compare him to what we had before in Nicholas Füllkrug, it gives so much more than the German ever did. Another bonus on Friday night was seeing the return of Crescencio Somerville. Back in the squad, he was a welcome sight. He wasn't at full throttle yet. That's obvious, but the signs were encouraging. His movement off the ball created pockets of space, and his willingness to take defenders on forced Wolves to, pay more attention to him. He brought pace, he brought directness back into the team, and he managed to stretch the Wolves' defence. Clearly, he's not fully match fit yet. He's not sharp. Not saying fully match fit, but he's not sharp just yet, as he was before the injury. If you remember that long shot he tried, he would have taken that ball and carried it if he was 100%. But match sharpness will come with more minutes under his belt. And again, with 6 games remaining, a fit and confident Somerville will be a true asset to this in the run-in. But let's finish with the player that we started with. It was just the 2 goals. It wasn't just the 2 goals that Dinos scored to earn the Man of the Match award. His composure in defence has changed immensely. He's keeping Todibo out of the team, who we kind of were saying is now one of our best defenders. And Todibo must be wondering whether he's going to get a chance to play again this season if Dinos maintains the form that he's currently in. Alongside Disasi, their body language, in fact, when you think about anyone that's played alongside Disasi in this team, Todibo, Dinos, their body language, the decision-making, it's steadied in defence, has been improved immensely. Now, the first half wasn't great, but they showed defensive qualities. Dinos showed the defensive quality in order to get us through that first half. And he did just that. I wonder, actually, whether Kilman would benefit playing alongside Disasi and whether he could improve as well. I don't know. Look, this game was crucial. We needed players to show up. Dinos showed up. I've mentioned about Suchek. I mentioned about Pablo, Somerville being back, Tati scoring, etc. But Dinos is the embodiment at the moment of what we need in this West Ham team to get us through this season and get us out of the relegation zone and to stay in the Premier League. It was crucial, and we did what we needed to do. 4 goals, a clean sheet, 3 points. I guess that's the headline, but the subtext is I guess, even more important, isn't it? This performance delivered belief, momentum, and a clearer sense of identity. And with 6 games left, confidence and cohesion matter as much as tactics right now. Now, we usually come back a little sloppy after an international break. So maybe, just maybe, it was actually good to have the cup game in between to break that momentum, and break most of the players in. There are still those who are complaining that had we played a stronger team against Leeds, then we would have been through to Wembley in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Perhaps I guess we might have done. I don't know. But the return of several key players gives Nuno the depth and quality that he needs to get us through the business end of this season. Keep this up, and the Premier League safety has got to be ours. It's in our hands now. Now, of course, we should not be congratulating ourselves only for avoiding relegation. We should be doing a lot better than that. But under Nuno, if we stay up, keep the nucleus of this team, then maybe next season could turn out to be a pretty good one. All eyes, of course, are going to be on Sunday and Monday. We did our bit on Friday. We've now got to look forward to the results between Forest and Villa. Come on, Villa. Never thought I'd say that. Monday night's game between Man United and Leeds. Come on, Man United. Never thought I'd say that. And, of course, the big one, isn't it? Sunderland against Spurs later on Sunday. Come on, the Mackens. And let's hope that they do the business there. Look, if you've enjoyed the show, like I said, please click the subscribe button, free of charge to become a subscriber. And please hit the like button that's below this video. And also please hit the hype button, because hitting the hype button allows other viewers to watch this video. So you're kind of promoting it on my behalf. Thank you for watching and listening. We're back with the Monday Night West Ham Weekly. That will be back on this Monday night. So look forward to that as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you.